Erased Destiny 2, The Knower. Chapter 11, Duty. Although he did not feel obliged to guard the abandoned prisoner, Jargon could not help but hear the kidnapped man hitting his back against the wall. The prospect of confronting a potentially dangerous prisoner prompted the boy to leave his bed and summon an ice sword. He also peeked over the hastily constructed barricade made of transparent chairs. The kidnapped mayor of Tyrdam laid on the fabric replacing the floor, bound with Etienne's IV, and was trying to free his hands. Every time he moved one of his hands, the IV changed the position of its shoots. It seemed to have a life of its own, which did not surprise Jargon. He had a vision of Nathen, tied up in exactly the same way, rolling on the grass in some forest, and Etien telling him that it is enough to stroke the plant to let it go. Nathen knew that the IV would wither after just 10 minutes, but somehow that restriction didn't apply to Etien and Luna. Both ladies could make a hammock out the IV and sleep there the whole night. So if Etien nourished the plant just before leaving the apartment, it should stay alive till midnight at least. Nathen was sure that one battle with the mages won't take so long.
You could give me some water.
Jargon retreated to the interior of the room he occupied. He thought that what vampires had not obtained by force, he could achieve with kindness. So he poured a full cup of water, dismantled the barrier blocking the passage, and approached the prisoner. He helped him sit down, gave him something to drink, and leaned against the wall himself. He allowed Nathen to talk to the hostage in the desertion language.
Where are you from?
From the border. Every morning I looked towards Tyrdam until I finally decided to move here. And you? Why did you leave home?
For the same reason as everyone else. I was looking for a better life. Something different than working in a mine. Although in my case, there was also the magic involved and an unlucky name. As if 3 daughters were not enough for my parents, they named me Saskiel.
That's really unfortunate for you. Many people from the desert live in Tyrdam. I managed to get a job here and then it just happened. In cities like these, it's crucial to know languages and be able to adapt to the situation.
Sensing that the conversation was going in the right direction and that he might be able to find out what they needed, Nathen brought a piece of bread and some overripe fruit. He had to feed the prisoner himself, because the IV did not allow for even minimal freedom of movement. And Nathen had no intention of freeing the hostage, not because he was afraid of him, but he intended to leave the apartment as soon as he gathers the information.
Thanks. How long are you planning to keep me here?
Nathen sighed heavily. He pretended to be very tired and worried about the situation, the failure of their mission. Despite his young age, the prisoner kept his thoughts to himself as effectively as his words. Traces of Sonja's fists and metal objects had left blue marks across the kidnapped man's body. Sparkling particles of hallucinogenic powder were left on the floor, as well as an empty vial of truth serum. Nathen knew from his own experience that the potions used by the Seekers were only half effective, and the torture only had an effect after some time and not in every case. Encouraged by Etienne's consent, Sonja gathered more ingenious devices in the room. A finger crusher, shoes that devoured feet, and various types of acid. She probably intended to use these softening agents as soon as she returned from the fire mage's base.
I don't know. They took me as a translator, although I haven't had much to do so far. We met with a few merchants, but they weren't very cooperative.
It's all because of the sanctions imposed by the palace. We can't buy wood or many other necessary substances, herbs for example, so the morale in the city is deteriorating. You've probably seen unfinished buildings. It's hard to build something with just stones. I would like to know why the palace is oppressing us so much. We tried to negotiate, but the palace suspects us of supporting the rebellion of the fire mages, so you understand. We didn't achieve anything.
Sorry. It seems we kidnapped you by mistake. This whole trip has been one big misunderstanding. I wish we could finish the job and return home.
And who were you trying to kidnap, if you don't mind me asking?
The noise outside made Nathen look through the window. He was afraid it was Cyril returning, but fortunately not. Few kids played outside and hit the wall of the building. Nathen acted as if he was in similar situation as the hostage, to make him talk freely with him. He didn't understand Sonja's brute force approach. Even during classes, they were told that force is the less effective interrogation method, and should be used only when other ways failed.
The mayor of Tyrdam. The person responsible for signing intercity trade agreements to negotiate favorable conditions.
Well, you've succeeded then. At least partially. The mayor has been convicted of corruption and I am temporarily acting as his replacement. Unfortunately, whatever I sign will be meaningless in the light of the sanctions imposed. But if you let me go, I will arrange a meeting with the mages for you. I will exempt you from transportation tax. If you unload right by the walls, we will not break the law and the mages will transport the goods to their hideout with their carts.
Nathen acted interested in the opportunity to make a deal. But then, he became gloomy again. The mayor of Tyrdam tried to persuade him with even more passion. He saw his way out of the trouble in the person of the translator from the desert.
Do you think the mages will listen to us? They are rebels, outcasts, and without money for sure.
They will listen, I assure you. We have given them shelter and turned a blind eye to their subversive activities, which has made us vulnerable to the palace. The mages pay generously for our help, so they will definitely empty their pockets for you as well. Especially since we are unable to provide many of the things they need.
I will pass on your words to my superiors. I'm just wondering. Since your mayor is in the prison, who is in charge of the guard? We were stopped and searched every now and then, not to mention being refused entry to the city.
Nathen tried to make a bed for the prisoner out of the blankets left on the beds. He was looking for something to do to justify continuing the almost natural conversation about the strange customs of Tyrdam, and he hoped that Cyril would not return from shopping anytime soon, that he would take care of the mission Etien had commissioned, even though he was not suitable for it. As if Etien were forcibly looking for something for the merchant to do. Nathen analyzed the possible scenarios and realized that Etien was hoping Cyril would fail. This gave her a reason to send Sonja into the field, perhaps also as a rescue for the captured merchant. Then Etien and Uzumaat could take care of what Etien was actually planning. And Sonja, for some reason, was getting in Etienne's way. Showing a keen interest in the situation in the city further increased the trust that Etien had in the other members of the expedition.
The guards are led by a woman with blue hair. I don't know her, I don't even know her name, but everyone is calling her Snowflake. She was the one who decided to tighten the rules about 6 months ago, in response to the sanctions from the palace. That damned Crystal Palace.
Where does she live? Does she have a post in the town hall?
I don't know, really. The only thing that I can say for sure is that she wears a navy blue scout's uniform. And has an orange feather on her neck, but it is not a phoenix feather. I don't know a bird that leaves such feathers. That woman, she's quite scary. It's better not to mess with her, believe me.
I'm not going to. I try not to make enemies.
The prisoner once again began to persuade him to talk to the fire mages, so Nathen politely declined the offer and promised to pass everything on to the decision-makers. He also assured the prisoner that he would keep his safety and general health in mind, and that whenever they would be alone in the apartment, he would feed him. As proof of this, he brought him another cup of water. Then Jargon rebuilt the barricade so that no one would find out about his deeds and sat on the bed with a bowl of water in his hands. He tried to remember how seekers changed their appearance. However, without Nathen's help, he wasn't even be able to dye his hair. And Nathen was not particularly eager to help. Nathen needed some time to think about what he heard. Snowflake. The description could match Noemi.
I will allow you to go, Etien, to help her with the fire mages. In exchange you will let me talk to her, to Merigold, when she agrees to meet us alone. And you won't reveal yourself to her, till we return to Sintra.
Agreed.
Nathen hoped that Etien, If she finds out about the bargain he had to make to ensure her safety, she would forgive him. She was always willing to hear his explanations. As long as nothing terrible happened, she forgave him every mistake and misbehavior. Cyril, seeing his son in an unusual situation, asked,
"How are you feeling?"
Good. I have some important information for Etien. I'm going to look for her.
"I'll walk you out. I saw her by the river."
They went out into the street, and there, Jargon continued his statement.
I talked to our prisoner. He gave me a great idea on how to infiltrate the mage's base and finish this part of the mission. Unfortunately, the boy is a figurehead. He has just been put in a position of power, but has not been initiated into his master's plans.
"Tell Etien what you found out and we'll go back to the apartment together. I don't feel comfortable knowing that you're wandering alone in a city that has become more dangerous than ever."
I didn't say I was going back.
Jargon turned and wanted to leave, but Cyril grabbed his arm. His fingers slid over the boy's shirt, and he dodged without looking back. Usually Jargon talked too much, and about topics that his father was not interested in at all. When he had the opportunity to talk about important matters, he remained silent.
"That's not our job, son. Let's leave it to those who are qualified for it."
You won't understand.
"Try to explain. I'm not that stupid."
For a moment, they stood side by side in complete silence, broken only by the distant sound of footsteps hurrying somewhere. What to say? Jargon himself did not fully understand his motives. Deep down, he felt something for Merigold, or for Etien. He was no longer sure which of the girls' personalities attracted him more. Etien could be dangerous and unpredictable, but she was also affectionate and caring. Merigold, on the other hand, did not drag Jargon around the world in search of adventure. Etien wanted to do everything herself, while Merigold sought the company of a peer. She blushed whenever Nathen flirted with her. Etien, on the other hand, could make him feel embarrassed and his heart beat faster.
Funny thing about that hand. I shielded Etien, even though I knew she would create some kind of shield. After all, no one can match her when it comes to magic. But what if she didn't make it in time? Before I knew it, I was standing between Etien and the guard. I feel bad knowing that she is out there. Without me. She is definitely risking her life. What if Uzumit and Tolps are too far away to take the hit?
Cyril stared silently at his son's back. He could sense where this conversation was going. He had nothing against Jargon and Merigold's relationship, but would Jargon be able to handle Etien? Would she even want to look at him? Wouldn't she break his heart with her very likely refusal? But Jargon had already made his decision.
"I remember Etien's reign. Rumors of her victories in battles and tournaments echoed through Tyrdam, where I lived at the time. Although few here supported the Crystal Palace, Etien was respected. Maybe it was because of her personality, maybe it was the changes she initiated, the friendly relations she established with the desert. I don't know.
She has something about her that attracts people. Like the desert. It's a little scary, more fascinating. I wondered why we all follow her orders without question. Because it's not out of fear. Not for the money.
And what did you come up with?"
Nathen's eyes turned golden. He looked for less traveled routes, quieter roads where the risk of colliding with a random passerby was reduced. He would have preferred to run on the roofs, but for some reason, this idea clearly did not suit Jargon.
Etien infects others with her diligence. Looking at her and doing nothing makes you feel guilty. And I want to be a part of what she creates. Something big, momentous. Standing next to her at the very top. Preferably with the knowledge that she is my wife. But that's up to her, isn't it?
He smiled at his father, covered his body with a shimmering curtain and moved on. For the first time, he felt free, truly free. He was doing what he should, And what he wanted, by the way. What they both wanted deep down.
Try to keep your distance from what you will see, what is likely to happen. Good luck. To all of you. Come back safely.
Jargon ran ahead. Nathen's memories rushed after him. Visions of those battles, seen from a slightly closer perspective. Difficult negotiations with the Empire. Infighting within the palace. All of this filled Jargon with disgust. He would never willingly allow himself to be locked up in a place full of intrigue. He certainly would not accept the job of the chief spy.